Zunaira Waheed is a 16-year-old author and motivational speaker from Oman that has won several awards for her work, including a Global Youth Award in 2022 in the Educational Leadership category. Her first published book, That Night, has been appreciated by many electronic and print media platforms, well-renowned authors and prestigious government officials, including Ambassador to Pakistan in Oman. And she joins me today. Welcome, Zunaira.
Hi, thank you for having me.
Oh, it's so wonderful to have you here, Zunaira. Let's get straight into the questions, shall we? Zunaira, it's evident from your many published works that you love to write. Where does the passion come from?
I think every writer is a reader. That's kind of where they start off. So I started reading at a pretty young age. The first book that I read was about adventure and fantasy. And from there on, I just kind of kept reading a bunch of fantasy series. I've read the Harry Potter series, which was one of the books that kind of made me want to be a writer. So the author, J.K. Rowling, she obviously creates this amazing world of different characters who kind of just make the story more special to you, and you kind of relate to them more. And it's just a huge thing to be able to do that, to write something and then have people all over the world read it and to just fall in love with that. I think it's a pretty cool thing that writers can just write something and transport you from your place, your world, into an entirely different world.
Brilliant.
So then I just want to be interested in doing that myself.
Yeah, amazing, and I totally agree. You can, especially during COVID, it's being able to travel the world via the stories and the written work that you have. Yes, even when we weren't allowed outside. So you published your first book That Night at the age of 14. Tell us what the book is about.
So my book That Night is a mystery book, and it's from the perspective of a teenage girl. So she basically runs away from home when she sees something interesting one night. And it's so bizarre that she has no idea what to do anymore. It's just something that she never imagined possible. So now she's far from home. The only solution that she could think of was to run away. And now that she's far from home, she basically gets a fake ID, and she's this entirely new different person. She's keeping to herself, not letting people get to know her. So she's under the radar because she's still on the run from someone that she saw that night. So she saw someone that night and she's on the run. But of course, it would be a boring story if the man didn't show up again. So everywhere she goes, she feels him following her. And throughout the story, I kind of wanted to write something about how a character that kind of struggled in life, but stayed strong. So I think we all go through difficult situations in our lives, and we've all, one way or another, managed to come out of those stronger and better people. And I kind of wanted to show that in a more interesting way.
Amazing, absolutely amazing. So you wrote this story, which is incredible, a fantastic adventure, and then you ended up publishing it as a book. How did you end up getting it published, and how did it feel for you to see it available on Amazon for the first time?
Well, I initially just started writing it, not with the intention of publishing it. And it was only until after I finished writing it, I was like, oh, check it out. And my parents were pretty impressed. So they decided to kind of enter it into a competition. They told me to look out for opportunities of how I could showcase my talents. So I participated in this international creative writing competition organized by Mosby, and they published books. So basically what they did was they handpicked my story, and I won that competition, and they just published the book themselves, and they published it on different platforms, including Amazon. And they kind of help out young authors mainly, so they hold different competitions each year. And there was one where they held a competition for people to submit short stories, and then they picked the best ones and published an anthology, which I was also a part of. But mainly, they just help you figure out how to publish a book if you have no idea what to do. And when I first saw it published, it was just completely unreal. Because you read, and when you grow up reading, you're just admiring all these authors and how they wrote so much, and they just spoke to you in a way that you've never met them, but you know what their thoughts are and how they write, and you kind of tell a lot about a person from what they write. So it kind of felt unreal that I kind of had put myself out there, and my words were out in the world as well.
That's brilliant, absolutely brilliant, and how wonderful to follow in those footsteps. And also, in addition to your book, you've already mentioned the one particular work that you had published. You have written a plethora of articles and fictional stories, and they've been published in books, magazines, blogs, and social media channels as well. What's been your favourite, and why would you pick that one?
So initially, I started publishing short stories, but as I grew older, I kind of started writing the articles a lot more because I'm a part of this club called ANAL Club here in Muscat, where I'm a public speaker. So I actively do write speeches, and those are usually motivating speeches. That's where I got the idea to kind of write more articles, and I mainly wanted to sort of write something that impacts people. Like I said, words can create a huge impact on people. And that motivated me to write a bunch of articles that I think are kind of pieces of advice that we all can share with each other and get to learn more about. So I do have a couple that stand out, but I don't think I have one favorite one. But the first one that I did publish it was actually one of my first few speeches as well. It's called Count the Blessings. And it's basically about gratitude, as you can probably already tell. And I wrote it around COVID, so during all of the craziness that was going around, we all kind of forgot to appreciate the little things that we had in life. We all had a negative mindset, and we can't really be like mad on us. We can't really blame us for being upset because it was an upsetting time. But a way that I found that I could take care of myself, a way that I could like have self-care, have a good time at home, away from my friends, was just appreciating the little things. Like I could still text my friends. I could still talk to my family. I wasn't completely alone. And I just learned to appreciate like the little things that I was missing out on. For example, going on walks. You just do these things throughout life and you don't realize how important they are. So I wanted to write about that to sort of spread out positivity during a time that I didn't think was completely positive. Another one that comes to mind is one about determination. So it's called Phoenix Rising from the Ashes. And I basically talk about how we all go through tough times in our lives. Again, it's about struggle, and we all have to rise above it. So you've probably gone through difficult situations in your life, and just it seemed like the worst moment in your entire life. It's the biggest challenge you've ever faced. And I talked about how you can recover from that, how you can stay determined through everything. And I shared a couple success stories that kind of motivated me to keep going about really successful people. You can think of J.K. Rowling, for example. She was completely poor. She had absolutely no money. And when she first wrote Harry Potter, it got rejected by, I can't remember the exact number, but it's a lot of publishing houses that rejected her. And now we're sitting here and I said Harry Potter and immediately you knew what I was talking about. Oh. And I just think that it's insane to like never give up. Yeah. I do have one more that's like important to me, but it's in a book that I'm launching next month called Nobody Told You This Before. It's a collection of motivational articles, so let's just keep it a surprise till then.
Oh, I'm excited to read that. And yeah, COVID was a difficult time for so many people, and to be able to support people with mental health and help them change the way that they focus and look at life from a different perspective is really brilliant. And the Phoenix from the Ashes thing really resonates as well. Whenever a forest burns down, you see green shoots coming up so quickly, and it's a sign that life will always will always come back and will always flourish if we allow it to. So that's brilliant. Thanks very much for that, Zunaira. And so you touched on that a little bit just now, in addition to your written work, you have become an active member of the ANA Gavel Club in Oman, which is part of the Toastmasters International. And you've recently been appointed as VP Education of the club. So tell us all about that.
Yeah, growing up, I was pretty shy. Public speaking was sort of a challenge for me. So when I was younger, it was something that I really wanted to work on. And I enrolled in a public speaking club. But I just kept trying and I just couldn't seem to get it right. So my first speech was a disaster, as you can imagine. I was pretty shy. I did work hard, but it didn't turn out right. Of course, it's the first time, I get it. So I started to stay determined. I kept giving speeches after speeches at my club. And, I kept getting inspired by the people at the club who were pretty great speakers. And I just continuously worked to improve my skills. I think that a lot of people did impact my journey as speaker. Of course, my club counselor, but also the people around you. They do matter. Not just the people in the club, but figures that you see outside. So someone that kind of impacted me was Romana J. Smith. She won, I think it was 2019. She won the 2019 Toastmasters International Competition, the World Championship. And I was amazed how when she was on stage and she spoke, you could hear a pin. It was basically pin drop silence. She had everyone's attention, and I just thought it was so cool how she could kind of have everyone's attention and say something so perfectly that it really did leave you feeling, okay, wow, what was she saying? That was really like it leaves an impact on you. And again, like that's something that's really important to me, leaving an impact on people. So I basically just continuously kept working. I did win around 10 consecutive sessions. I kept giving speeches and I won best speaker in each of those sessions. So that was pretty cool. And then I became vice president last summer. It's like I said, the people in my club kind of motivated me. So it was incredible to see that I was one of those people now. Like I'm the one that people kind of look up to now. The newer people who join the club are going to be like, oh, she's the one that we have to look up to. They're going to be inspired. And yeah, I've been working with some Cavaliers and helping them. That's what we call the people in club Cavaliers. And I've just been helping them grow as speakers. And it's nice to see people come out of their own shell the way that I did and just become like amazing speakers.
I love that. And I love that you're able to now share that journey with them. And of course, we know, the more time and the subject matter really matters, that whole ability to be able to hold the room and not be able to hear a pin drop because the audience is so quiet, and exciting that you're doing that for other people now. So that's amazing. So we're just about to relaunch our Legacy Project charity, which is part of the Global Youth Awards. And so I guess the final question I want to ask you today is, what is the legacy that you want to leave in the world, Zunaira?
I think it's important to create an impact on the people around you because we don't even realize it, but we're so influenced by what everyone else does. And the thing is, we're all unique and we all go through different experiences and learn and interpret them in so many different ways. I want to kind of encourage people from what I've learned and motivate them into just becoming better versions of themselves and into loving and appreciating themselves and figuring out a way that they can give the best they have to the world and just get the best results. Some organizations that I've kind of been motivated by have been United Nations. They do a lot they've set a bunch of goals and they're working hard to achieve these goals for the world. And the thing is, we can't expect just the leaders of the world to do it. It doesn't work unless you and I do play our part and see how we can contribute to each of the goals that they've set. So they have 17 sustainable development goals. We can't just expect them to figure it all out because this is our world. We still live here. We have to figure out how we can impact the people around us and sort of create our change because if I do something here in one part of the world and nobody else does something in another part of the world, it's not really going to work because it's not universal. And I just want to encourage people all over the world to just lend their hand and sort of create a way that they can impact people. And I kind of have been doing this. I've created a podcast called Real With Us. It's available on Spotify, and I recently started it. We're just into season 2. I started with a friend at school, and our main goal was, once again, to kind of highlight the issues in our world and to inform people our age. Because the thing that we've noticed is that we all go through different things, and no one really realizes it or even addresses the issues that we face. So we wanted to have a platform where everyone kind of felt safe, that they could send in whatever they want to talk about or whatever they want us to talk about, and we can just address the controversial topics, if you will. But we're mainly focusing on the Sustainable Development Goals by United Nations. And our first season was about mental health, and we had 10 episodes, and in each one we just talked about how mental health affects different aspects of our lives. So not just teenagers, but adults as well. We did have an episode dedicated to students and mental health, but we talked about how students can make a change, but also how educators can make a change in people's lives. But it's basically about talking to each and every single person in the world and how they can lend a hand. Yeah, I basically just kind of strive to inspire people to join me on this journey to create positive change. Because once again, like alone, one person can't do anything, but together we can definitely create a positive difference in the world.
Yeah, definitely. And that the Legacy Project is all about doing that, going into schools and creating projects for change, so that we can, really escalate the timescales in terms of getting to where we need to get, because this is our planet and all of us are on it, so we all need to take responsibility. So I love that you're doing that. Zunaira, I'd love to share the link to your podcast so people can show up and listen to that. And of course, we'll share the link to your book as well, and any other links that you think would be useful for people. But thank you so much for speaking to me today. I really, really appreciate it. And I'm excited to see what happens next for you.
Yeah, thank you so much.